welcome back to Virtual Road Trip. This is episode 3. Today we're heading up to Kaaterskill Falls. Yeah, another waterfall. It's a waterfall in Greene County, New York, right off the road that we're currently on, Route 23A. Pretty soon here you'll start to see the mountains a bit. Actually we're going over the New York State Thruway at the moment. But yeah, there you go, you can see them a little bit. We'll be getting much closer to what's known as the Kaaterskill Escarpment, which is a sudden and sharp rise of the Kaaterskill Mountains from the Hudson River Valley. You'll see it quite clearly coming up soon. And there's the escarpment. I've also heard this called the Great Wall of Manitou, or Manitou. Not sure the exact pronunciation, but it is quite a wall. It's a sharp rise from the valley floor. And if you can see just ahead in the distance, and we'll be getting closer to it, but there's a tiny little notch in the mountains there. That's actually called the Clove, and it's actually called the Kaaterskill Clove, appropriately enough. That's the way we'll be heading up. This road actually goes up that. Up ahead right here we'll be crossing New York State Route 32, which is a north to south route, going south towards Ulster County, or north continuing into Greene County towards Albany. The mountain peak you see in the distance there is called Kaaterskill High Peak. It's about 3,500 feet tall in elevation. I'm pretty sure, not knowing the exact number. What's interesting is the original settlers of this area actually believed the peak to be the highest in the Catskills, mainly because it was the highest peak that they could see from the valley below. They did not want to venture too deep into the mountains. As it turns out, though, the peak is not the highest in the Catskills. Slide Mountain, which is much further into the range, is actually the tallest, over 4,000 feet. This little town is called Palinville, a small little town in Greene County. The last town on this road before we start heading up the mountain. Oh, that's the last house before we drive into the wilderness here. We'll be heading up the Clove now. We're going to gain a lot of elevation here. My ears will probably be popping. And pretty soon we'll be at the falls. It's all uphill from here. I'm really going to put my car to the test, that's for sure. It has a lot of experience with mountains around here. This road is always under constant repair. It gets so much damage from floods and all the wild weather that comes through here. In fact, just a few years ago, after Hurricane Irene, this road was closed down for months. An entire section was washed out. In the summertime, this area is packed with people. Cars on the side of the road, people walking dangerously since there's no shoulder here. There's swimming holes all over the place, and plus the falls. This time of year, not so much. It's nice this time of day with a little bit of cloud cover. It means the sun's not constantly shining in my eyes, or more importantly the camera like last time. Looks like we're heading into a little glen here. Steep drop off the left side, that's for sure. coming up on the falls now. You'll probably see it up here in a second. And we'll be getting out and getting a closer look. Here's a quick view of the Clove from the upper side. So we're back on the road now, still heading up the Clove. We'll be at the top pretty soon here, and we'll be in a small little village called Haynes Falls. After that, we'll be going through another little village called Tannersville, and then I believe we'll be turning away from 23A before we get to Hunter. But we should be able to see Hunter Mountain in the distance, with any luck. I always like coming up this way. It's almost like going into a totally different area. But, well, I guess it is. We'll be starting down in the valley, and then suddenly you're up in the hills, up in this almost... Well, it is a mountain valley, basically. It's almost like being in the Alps. Not quite, but as close as you can get in upstate New York, probably. And there's Hunter Mountain in the distance. That's actually the Hunter Mountain Ski Resort, as you can tell. The only area around here that has snow currently. The real Hunter Mountain is actually a little further west. It will be left on your screen. And this is the aforementioned Tannersville, small village here in this mountain valley. I always like coming through here. It's a nice little town. Right in front of us there is the real Hunter Mountain. I believe the elevation, roughly 4,040 feet. It's the only other mountain in the Kaaterskill range besides Slide Mountain that's over 4,000 feet. Which may not be all that impressive if you live out west, but around here it's pretty high up. And there's the resort again, getting a little closer. We'll actually be getting quite a bit closer before we make our turn. I'm going to be making a turn up here. We'll be getting off 23A now. We've now turned south, or roughly south, onto New York State Route 214, and we'll be heading through another clove, or actually a notch, I believe it's technically called, the Stony Clove Notch, and we'll be getting a good look at it as we get closer here. And right here you can start to see just how narrow this notch is that we're about to go through. On the left is a mountain called Plateau Mountain, which is not 4,000 feet, but not much under. And on the right is Hunter, or at least a part of it. Interesting story I heard. When the Europeans first arrived in this area and tried to cross this notch, they could only do so through on foot. It wasn't wide enough for wagons or any other equipment to bring through. Now over time it was widened so that wagons could come through, as the tannery business in the area was booming. And eventually a railroad was built through the notch. And now we have an auto road. But it's still very narrow through here, as you'll notice. There are other notches in the Kaaterskill Mountains, though, that have been undisturbed, and you literally can put your foot on one mountain and your other foot on another. Maybe one day we'll get to go see one. This little pond on the right is called Notch Lake, appropriately enough. It also marks the trailhead of the Devil's Path, which sounds scary, but it's just a trail going over some of the mountains to the west here, including Plateau, Twin, Sugarloaf, as well as a couple others. Well, we're through the notch, and that's going to about do it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Remember to comment, like, subscribe, and all those other good things you're supposed to do on YouTube. I'm supposed to ask for. Anyway, I hope to have another video out in a couple weeks, and I hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching.